Oscar, how you been, man?
Oh, not bad, bro.
Hey, did you see that new episode of The Bachelorette?
Oh my gosh, it was epic.
I know, right?
Okay, guys, let's get to work here.
Sorry.
So,
Okay.
no, that's all right. All right, so we've all come here today as an interdisciplinary team to discuss David Smith.
Right.
So we all know David. We've worked with him before. He's an 8-year-old who's currently on medication for his ADHD because of his behaviors impacting his academic performance in school.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get started, I'll just remind everyone that I'm Thomas. I'm the psychologist.
Hi everyone, my name's Andre. I'm the psychiatrist.
I'm Cassie, the recreational therapist.
I'm Janelle, I'm the occupational therapy student.
I'm Mark. I'm also an occupational therapy student.
Right, okay, so David's mother has expressed a little bit of concern over the medication he's on. She's worried about long-term impacts of the medication, and she really wanted us to explore into non-pharmacological interventions. So I understand that the OTs here have taken initiative on that one, have done a little bit of research into it.
Yeah.
Did you guys want to go over that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So many of the parents have brought up the concerns that they had with having their child on ADHD medication with us as well. So we decided to have a look at the evidence of the effectiveness of these interventions. So we decided to begin our research by looking at a systematic review. And the results showed that children with untreated ADHD have a poorer long-term outcome than their peers who don't have ADHD. And additionally, 72% of the studies reported that non-pharmacological treatments for ADHD symptoms were beneficial.
So I wonder, what's the impact or the effect size of these individual studies?
That's a good question, actually. The systematic review didn't provide us with any data regarding statistical significance, and there was an absence of confidence intervals. So we can't actually be sure if the treatment is what improved those symptoms, but I believe the results are positive. You know, with so many of those results being positive, it's a good first step for further, more rigorous research.
Okay.
And we looked at 4 particular non-pharmacological intervention researches, and I'll let Janelle talk about the first one.
Okay, so one of the ones we examined was neurofeedback training and its effect on reducing hyperactivity symptoms for children with ADHD.
So what exactly is neurofeedback?
What it is children with ADHD tend to have significantly different brainwaves than the typical population. So the theory behind the neurofeedback is it helps the child to control their brainwaves to help reduce the hyperactive behavior. And the study showed that participation in training, whether they were a part of an experimental or placebo group, tended to reduce these hyperactivity symptoms. So it may not be based on the training itself, it may just be by the motivation to participate in the study.
Okay.
And how recent is this study?
It was actually completed in 2010, so it's pretty recent.
Okay, thank you.
So another one of the studies we looked at was focused on anger management interventions, and we thought this was particularly relevant in David's case since his parents had mentioned that he's prone to temper tantrums, and those emotional escalations usually last for an extended period of time. So in your time with David or in your discussions with the parents, is this something that you guys have found as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's come up.
David's actually in one of my group therapy sessions, which he
Okay.
attends once a week for an hour.
Mhm.
And almost every single session, he'll have an outburst that'll last 20 minutes or more.
Okay, so this could be beneficial for him.
Definitely.
Okay, and the results of the study, the parents found that there were substantial differences between your child's emotional expression of anger pre and post intervention.
Another study that we looked at computerized training on working memory ability and its effect on academic performance. So overall, the study found that working memory training can transfer over to academic performance, which is important, especially when we're considering individuals like David. But the results weren't as strong as what the authors were hoping for, so more research may need to be completed in this area.
And the final study that we looked at examined the effect of social skills training on children diagnosed with ADHD. So the therapist modeled the new skills multiple times for the children, and then children were asked to replicate these skills, and also they had to evaluate their peers. The result of the study did not strongly support the effectiveness of the social skills training as a treatment for ADHD, except in the assertion skills. So those are the studies that we wanted to show you guys. Did you guys have anything else you'd like to discuss today?
Well, I'd like to know if there's anything you found that I could implement into my practice.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that David had some outbursts in some of your sessions.
Right.
And that's probably something that happens with a lot of children. In the anger management study, there's actually a very detailed description of how to implement this intervention in your own practice. So if you want, I can get you a copy of that.
Perfect, sounds good.
Okay.
And also, I want to know, what's basically the bottom line?
Well, basically what the research is showing us is that although the research is growing, there's not a lot of conclusive evidence at the moment for non-pharmacological interventions. So we're thinking non-pharmacological interventions can be used as an augmentative treatment to medication, so to assist in reducing their symptoms. But the research is kind of showing that taking them completely off medication isn't the best option.
Okay. All right, well, I think we've got all we need. You guys are comfortable talking to David's parents about that tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, great, we're all
Okay.
set.
Hi.
Hello.
As I said, I'm Janelle, I'm the occupational therapy student, and this must be David, right?
Yeah, I'm Cassie, I'm his mom, that's
Okay.
my husband Andre.
Hello.
Okay. Hi, how are you guys doing today?
We're well.
Hi. Yeah?
Yeah, we're all doing well.
So I hear you have some concerns about the medication David's on. You're looking at other treatments. Would you be able to tell me a little bit more about that?
For sure, yeah, he's only 8 years old and he's been on so many different medications so far. None of them seem to be really working.
Yeah.
And ideally, I'd like if he wasn't on anything at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if there's any alternative treatments that we could look into, I'd be happy to hear them.
So you're just looking into some other methods to use instead of the med.
Yes.
Would you be able to tell me, is there any specific activities that David here is having trouble with?
Well, it's mostly with school.
Yeah.
See, David has a very short attention span.
Okay.
And he doesn't listen to his teachers,
Mhm.
which is a problem. And every night it takes at least 2 hours to get 15 minutes of homework done.
Okay.
That's
So,
a struggle.
yeah, so it's kind of a frustrating thing you go through every night.
Yeah, and he has a lot of trouble making friends at school. And
Okay.
I think it's because he shows a lot of anger and throughout the day he'll have outbursts and temper tantrums. And I'm just not really sure what else to do with him.
Yeah, and the last OT that we were working with suggested that we offer David a reward system or timeouts, but that hasn't really been working.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
So the other methods that you've tried, the rewards and times out, nothing
There's
has
holes in
come
the
from
wall.
that really? Like it has no
No,
improvement?
no, it's the same thing over and over.
Okay. So, one thing we can look at doing today then is we'll just go into a little bit discussion of things that we can do, and
Okay.
from there we'll, on future sessions, we'll kind of figure out where we can go from there.
That would be great.
So, you did mention taking him off the medication though, correct? Like
Yeah.
that's what you were hoping for?
That's what I'd like.
Well, the research is kind of showing that the medication does have good effects to it. So usually the recommended treatment is to combine the medication as well as some different alternative treatments as well.
Okay.
Because the medication is shown to have a good effect, and you're not really sure what's going to happen when you take them off the medication. So some of the things that we can look into that's in line with the concerns you identified. You did mention his academic performance, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of due to the short attention span?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a big problem.
Well, there is a computerized training program that works on working memory, and it shows some benefits, even though it does require a lot of attention at the start. It does kind of show some benefits in the academic setting. It's a newer therapy though, so there's not a whole lot of, like it hasn't been tried a whole lot with children with ADHD, but it's something we can maybe look into for in the future.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that would be a solid idea because David loves to play on the computer and he loves games, so that can work.
Okay, yeah, so that's definitely, and that would definitely be a plus. It could be
Okay,
good.
great.
You also mentioned his, sometimes having difficulty with his peers and that. The one thing that comes to mind when you mentioned that is there is a social skills training that can be done where.
3 helicopters.
Nice.
Yes, it's lovely, David. There's a social skills training where where the therapist shows a specific skill and the child has to repeat it. Overall, it does show to improve assertion skills, so like
Okay.
being like assertive in your communication. So I'm not sure if that's an area of concern for David or not.
And I think it's worth a try,
Okay,
Yeah.
so it is,
Yeah.
maybe it's something we could look into in the
for
future.
sure, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't want him to be too assertive with us.
Okay.
But,
That's right, yeah.
Just joking.
All right, and then one final one I just wanted to mention is that you did mention his anger outbursts and the impulses. There is an anger management training that has been used occasionally with children with ADHD. But the research isn't really conclusive on it, so it's something we could try, but it's not. I can't say it's 100% definitely going to have perfect results from it.
Okay. Settle down.
David, not here. Sorry.
That's okay.
So overall, it seems like there's not a whole lot of evidence for alternative treatments.
Unfortunately, there isn't really a whole lot. It's also because there's so many of them that it's hard to keep up on all the research for it.
Yeah.
But they haven't been shown to do any harm. So
Okay.
I think
That's
that's the big thing. Is it's something you can try, but it's not going to harm the behavior in any way.
Okay.
Well, I just have to say thank you very, very much because at least I'm happy to know that there's something in the process and that hopefully in the future we'll have some effective treatments.
Yes.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
Yeah.
All right. So in the next session, we can probably look into kind of figuring out which ones we'd like to try
Okay. Yeah.
first.
Yeah, so I'll try to discuss this a little bit more in detail with David.
Yes,
just to
that's
see
exactly what we need to do. Yes.
Yeah.
see if he'd be interested in the computer games or
Yeah.
so. I find when he has his say in something, he's more likely to do it than if we
Yeah.
just tell him to do something, right?
That's definitely true. And if you have any questions about them, if you can just give me a call and we can figure it out.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll have you on speed dial.
Oh yeah.
All right, David. Good job.
Good work, David. I'm impressed. Thanks. Say thanks to the nice lady here.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, David. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.